the trust of the people. What have you got yourself now? You now have created by de facto a police state. What does the police do? What do the law enforcement agencies do? They try to force the laws that people through their ignorance agreed upon. So if it's a Christian force, if it's a Vatican police force, if it's the Swiss Guard going about their business, enforcing the laws amongst the Catholic people, it's because the people consented and have established those laws. So all they're doing, the police state, is enforcing the laws that the people have agreed upon, yes, through their ignorance. Hence, the judicial notice is, so we say, in wanting of a better word, their salvation. Yeah, that's how the police state comes about. You don't get a Nazi state coming out of the blue. They come out because the Germans, if the narrative is true of what I'm saying, and if it is true, this is how it was done. The German people during World War II, or previous to World War II, the group got everybody to believe, the Germans, as well as the Jews, that you should blame the Jews for all of these things. And once they have agreed to it, because in order to have a totalitarian state of dictatorship and ruthlessness, everybody has to lie into that system. Let's blame the Jews. Let's blame Jesus. Let's blame the scapegoat. Once that's done, the Nazi party now comes along and creates a police force to enforce the laws that the people agreed to, that it's the Jewish people's fault. The Jewish people in turn, or through Hebrew, or the Hebrew people, create all mechanisms of fraud, like metaverse, which means death of the verse, like museum, which means treasury. And they're doing all this under people's noses, like the Ashkenazians, which is another word for a Nazi, albeit a Zionist. That's another word for a Nazi, like in the movie Matrix. So everybody wants to go to Israel and live under the control of the Zionist. That's where they're going, Zion. So what did the police state do? What did the law enforcement do? Help that process go along. Because the people so foolishly believe you got to run to the arms of the Zionist, to Zion, an underground city, an underground city-state, a subterranean city-state. That's how foolish people are. And I'm so condemning today of the people, because the nightmare scenarios we find ourselves in, the Americas, the Canadas, the Britain, the Europe, is all done by the willful, freakish stupidity of people. That's why the judicial notice is going to be a book. Sorry, I beg your pardon. That's why the judicial notice is a book that levels the plane. They just simply can't get away with lying, lying, and lying. As Abraham Lincoln said, you can't lie to all the people all the time. They've been getting away with lying to some of the people some of the time, and they've been banking on it until the judicial notice book came along and said, liar, liar, your ass is on fire, and also your British Museum, and also your Bank of England, and also your Parliament, and the rest of it. The police, what do they take an oath to? What do the three branches of the military take their oath to in a country called Britain, United Kingdom? They take an oath to protect Parliament. How does an officer and a gentleman take an oath to protect a house of lies?
If I'm now aware of this trust with police state and that it's the people giving consent, does it require many people to change this, or can I just, with my own awareness, change my own situation?
So the direct answer to that is, once you take back your power of attorney, collapse the existing trust, and as a plenipotentiary judge, educate other people, you've collapsed it for yourself. And as a plenipotentiary, you have educated the rest of the world and giving them the opportunity through the judicial notice book to be able to collapse that city-state for themselves as well. Once there is 500 people in any given state that have collapsed that particular trust and the four-corner rule, which is called a contract, and withdrawn that power of attorney, withdrawn that power of consent, they've essentially created for themselves what's known as a gene pool or a electoral college, sometimes going in by itself as a voting. Yeah. So that pool of people can begin to collapse an entire fraudulent company, calling itself Great Britain, calling itself United States, calling itself Canada, Australia. You can begin to collapse that, because less than 100 years ago, Australia was not called Australia. It was called Terra Australis, when it was run by another group of people known as Titans. United Kingdom at that time didn't exist. But through deception, they got people to believe you have to go into the United Kingdom rather than remain an English woman or an English man, because an English man and an English woman is the king of their castle. They are the king of their dominion. But when you move into another person's dominion, like the United Kingdom, which means United Kings and their dominion, you become a serf. So the direct answer to you is, you can collapse it for yourself. And of course, there is an effort involved. It's not like somebody puts a signature on a piece of paper and say, yeah. A turkey is still a turkey. And you'll be treated like a turkey